Where are they?" I sighed dramatically. "Come on, Mom, really?" My mom fixed me with a withering look, but it was hard for her to mask the excitement that lay behind it. "You know the rules. All your baby teeth belong to me. It's Mommy's rule. Always has been, always will be." I held out the little brown envelope that Dr. Mason always put my teeth in, and I thought for a moment she was going to knock me over to get them. My mother had given him special orders that she was to receive all my baby teeth, no exception, and he hadn't really argued. I had assumed that I wasn't the only one whose mom was insistent on collecting their teeth. I talked about it with friends, and some of them said their parents had a gross obsession with keeping their teeth as well. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me, but maybe she was putting them in a baby book or keeping them for some kind of art project or something. Either one of those things made my skin crawl, but it was Mom's rule, and we always followed Mom's rules. Other than the teeth thing, Mom was pretty cool about most other things. She let me stay up till 10 o'clock at night, even when I was little. She usually let me pick out my own clothes, and she pretty much let me eat and cook whatever I wanted for dinner. I knew other people's moms who didn't do that, so I suppose it was okay for her to have some weird ideas about teeth if it meant I had a little more personal freedom. Mom shook the envelope, and I had to stop myself from cringing at the sound of the teeth as they rattled around inside. "That's the last two." "Yep," I said, smiling so she could see the holes where they had come out. "I guess all my grown-up teeth will be coming in now." She didn't say anything in response. She just kept shaking the envelope and smiling as we drove home. I should have lost my last two baby teeth about 1.5 years ago, but I suppose the last ones had really hung in there. I was getting ready to go into the 7th grade, and it seemed that I should have cast away the last of my childish things a long time ago. I was practically an adult now. At least that's what I thought at the time. I couldn't wait to be done with this whole baby teeth ritual of hers, so we could move away from these kid things and into something better. When we pulled up to the house, Mom went into her room with my teeth, like she did after every appointment. She always told me not to disturb her, and then spent the whole night in there doing whatever it was she did. I decided to go to my room as well, not really having anything else to do. Vicky sent me a text to see if she could come over, and I told her that'd be fine. Mom would be in her room for the rest of the evening, after all, and I wanted to try my hardest not to think about what she was doing in there with my baby teeth. Vicky came in about 30 minutes later, flopping onto the floor of my room and pulling out her phone as we traded funny TikToks. She must have sensed that something was off because she asked me if everything was okay. "Still a little loopy from the dentist's office?" "No, I guess I'm just thinking about my mom and how she's obsessed with my teeth." "Yeah, my mom is constantly reminding me to brush, floss, not eat too much sugar, and all that stuff too. Nearly in high school, Mom. It's time to let me be my own person," Vicky said, as she sighed dramatically. "For sure, it's the way she has to obsess over every baby tooth. I mean, what could she possibly want with all those teeth?" Vicky turned to look at me, raising an eyebrow. "Run that by me again?" I told her about how my mom obsessively keeps all my baby teeth from every dentist appointment. And the more I talked about it, the more I could tell that it wasn't something that everyone's parents just did. Wow, no, that's psychotic. Why does she need all those teeth? Beats me. I guess I thought that everyone's parents did that. My mom might have kept the first couple of my baby teeth for her baby book, but I don't think she kept any of them after I was like 2 or something. About that time, I heard my mom's door open, and then she came hurrying out into the hall. She noticed the two of us sitting in my room and smiled as she greeted us, but there was something a little off about that smile. It looked worried and a bit manic, like she'd forgotten something in the oven, but she didn't want us to worry about it. "Victoria, so good to see you. I'll be out for a moment, girls. I've forgotten to pick something up. Please, while I'm gone, don't bother anything in my room, if you don't mind. I have something in there that I don't want to be disturbed." She left in a hurry after that, closing the front door before speeding out of the driveway like whatever she had forgotten might expire before she got there. Vicky looked at me, her smile long and mischievous, but I was already shaking my head as she got up and headed for the door. "Whatever you're thinking, no. I don't want to get in trouble because you're feeling curious." "Oh, come on. It's clearly got something to do with your teeth. She said she had something set up in there. What if she's making something weird or doing some kind of odd crafts with them or, I don't know, something. You know she's going to hide it when she's done. Mothers always do that kind of thing. If you want to know what it is, then we'd better go have a look before she manages to stash it." I wanted to stick to my guns and tell her no, but the more I thought about it, the more curious I became. Why did Mom want all those baby teeth? The more I thought about it, the less sense it made. Vicky was right. Keeping a few baby teeth for a book or something was one thing, but Mom had enough teeth to retooth a whole child. There was no reason that anyone should need to have that many baby teeth, and the more I thought about it, the weirder it made me feel. Those were pieces of me, something that had been in my mouth until they had fallen out or came out under the gentle nudging of my dentist. Whatever she was doing with them, it had to be something worth seeing. "Last chance," Vicky said. "I'm going with or without you." I caught up with her in the hallway. Not a long trip, but it had taken me until she got past the doorway to finally decide. I'd been in Mom's room before. It wasn't like it was a place I wasn't allowed to visit. Slept in there when I was little. I'd played in there sometimes, and I'd gone to visit with her as recently as a few weeks ago. Mom and I had a pretty good relationship, other than the thing with the teeth, and I was as comfortable in her room as I was in mine. As we pushed the door open slowly, the room I saw was not the one I was used to seeing. Mom's room was usually pretty tidy. A bed, a dresser, a nightstand, and a big walk-in closet that held all of her clothes. There was a rug on the floor that my grandma had made, and there was a footstool that sat on the rug, where I had sat and read or scrolled on my phone while I was waiting for my mom to get ready. Mom had pushed the bed back and the rug aside, and the footstool was lying with its legs in the air in the corner. The weird shape drawn in chalk where the rug had been was definitely new. It wasn't as if my mom had drawn a pentagram on the floor or something. The shape she had drawn technically had no name that I was aware of. It was a collection of jagged and painful-looking lines, and kind of made my eyes hurt the longer I stared at it. It sort of looked like a W, but it had too many legs. It was inside a circle, which was inside a larger circle, and the space between them had more of those asymmetrical jagged lines that almost appeared to be carved into the floor. In the space between the jagged lines were my baby teeth. They had been set with the crowns of each tooth facing the floor, and the pointed legs of each tooth facing the ceiling as if preparing to ascend. There were 3 sticks of incense, hastily put out, as my mother clearly discovered that she had forgotten something, and they smelled like burnt candy as they wafted smoke into the air. Vicky and I just stood there, staring at this for a moment, not really sure what to say. "What the hell?" Vicky asked. "What sort of voodoo shit is your mom up to?" I started to investigate, but that was when I heard the front door open and close quickly. I froze. It appeared that Mom had been quicker than I thought. I couldn't get back to my room. She would see us coming out of her bedroom and know we'd been snooping. I looked around and finally decided our only option was the walk-in closet. I grabbed Vicky by the shoulder and pushed her in, coming in as I tipped the door and hunkered as low as I could. "What are you?" Vicky started to bluster, but I shushed her as Mom came into the bedroom and slammed the door behind her. She hadn't even looked in on us. She had come straight back to her room so that she could start whatever it was she had going on. She immediately threw off the baggy dress that she'd been wearing and was bare beneath it. She lit matches and spread out 12 tea-light candles, which must have been what she was missing. Then she lit the incense, checked each of the teeth to make sure they were perfect, and then she began to chant. The chanting was low and guttural, something almost musical, but definitely primal. She swayed as she moved around the circle, scuffing the outer circle as she did so, but being careful not to touch any of the symbols or the circle inside it. Her chanting never got loud enough that it would have bothered me if I was in my room, and I couldn't make out anything she was saying if she was even speaking a language that I could have understood. Suddenly, a bright flash erupted over the symbols on the floor, and she wasn't alone in the room anymore. Something hung in the air, something wearing a dirty sheet, something with wings that looked like a multitude of flying insects. I could hear a mild buzzing coming from the creature, and there was a smell that made my teeth come together and grind. It was used dental floss, old toothpaste, and the metallic smell of used pennies. "Have you assembled the offering?" it asked, its voice like a swarm of bugs. "I have," she whispered, her voice edged with excitement. "What is your wish?" "Give me the girl who grew these teeth. Give me the baby girl who was once my darling angel. Give me the child that I nursed at my breast. That is what I desire." "What the hell is—" But I covered Vicky's mouth before she could give us away and begin to get hysterical. Vicky was a good friend, but she tended to get hysterical pretty quickly when things got scary. The creature didn't say anything. It just nodded, and with another of those bright flashes, my naked mother was suddenly holding a bundle. The bundle squirmed and kicked its little legs as it snuggled against my mother, and she looked down in absolute motherly adoration, the creature speaking to her for the last time. "If you wish to make another request, you know the price, and you know what you must give." My mother nodded frantically, thanking it for its generosity, and then the creature disappeared in a puff of acrid smoke. I wouldn't discover it till later, but all my baby teeth were gone, and even the chalk symbol that had encircled them had been removed completely. My mom sang to the baby as the two of us hunkered in the closet, trying to make sense of what was happening. After a few minutes, she glanced around fretfully before wrapping the kid in a blanket and scuttling off with her like a rat escaping with food. Vicky and I stayed in the closet for another 10 to 15 minutes, and when I finally felt courageous enough to poke my head out and sneak into the hall, I discovered that the house was empty. My mother had left the front door wide open, and she, the new baby, and her vehicle were gone. The door to the coat closet was also open, so I supposed that she had packed a bag in preparation. That was the last time I saw my mom. She escaped with the baby that she had wished for, and was never seen again. We had rented the house, so I suddenly found myself with nowhere to live and no one to take care of me at the ripe old age of 12. The police discovered that my mother had been living under an assumed name. Her social security card and identification were for a person that had died about 30 years ago. She had abandoned it as easily as she had abandoned me. The police said they would keep an eye out for her vehicle, but they didn't sound hopeful. My mom was gone, and now, I was left alone. Thankfully, Vicky's family took me in. Her mother had always liked me, and they adopted me a year later. Vicky and I lived like sisters after that, and I found a family in her parents that I realized I'd never had with Mom. My cool mom now seemed more aloof and standoffish than anything. It wasn't that she let me pick out my own clothes or cook my own meals, because she felt like I needed independence. It wasn't that she let me stay up late or stay out after dark because she was laid back. At the end of the day, she just didn't care about me. And I wouldn't understand why until I met someone very special a few years later. When I was 17, about 4 years after my mom suddenly abandoned me, a woman came to the door and told me she was my older sister. Her name was Janice, and she had a very strange story to tell me. About the time I turned 6, Mom suddenly didn't really find me as interesting as she had when I was a baby. I didn't understand why she kept my baby teeth either, but I assumed that every parent kept their kids' baby teeth. Then, one afternoon, I came in and found Mom had abandoned me. Her bedroom looked ransacked, her clothes thrown into trash bags, and then left behind. She took only the essentials, and then she left. But something else I remember that stood out oddly to me were the bags on the bed that were full of old baby clothes. She laid them out like she'd been trying them on something, and then she had taken what she wanted and left the rest behind. Left me behind. I told her what Vicky and I had seen, Vicky backing me up because it sounded so god-awful crazy that I just knew she wouldn't believe me. She nodded, seeming to come to terms with what I'd told her, and smiled at me. I bet you have a lot of great memories from when you were a kid. These memories probably peter off right about the time you turned 4 or 5, right? Mom was great. She let you stay up late. She let you cook your own meals and wear what you wanted, but it was all a lie. Mom didn't give a shit about me, not after I stopped being young and cute. I wouldn't have even known you existed if I hadn't taken one of those 23andMe tests. It said I was related to Mom, of course, but it also pulled your name and the name of someone else. I'm guessing right around the time you got ditched, Mom got a new baby. She's somewhere out there, and I bet she's already collecting baby teeth again. She held out a book that she had taken from the house before CPS came and found her there. It was a book of old scribbles that talked about an entity that would trade teeth and bone for wishes. It seemed like the ramblings of a crazy person, but Janice said that she had seen the symbols in the book carved on the floor of our house. I guess Mom had run out of chalk that day because she had scraped it right into the wood before starting her little ritual. Janice said she didn't understand the words in it, but a friend of hers had said they were an odd combination of German and Slavic dialects. He said, roughly translated, it came out to the Flygeist. It's supposed to be some kind of fairy. Not a particularly nice one either. I don't know how long Mom's been trading teeth for babies, but it's been going on for at least 26 years. She wanted to know if I'd be willing to take a blood test, and after talking it over with Vicky's family, I agreed. Janice had thought we were siblings, but the test showed it was more than that. Janice and I aren't actually related. We're the same person. Blood type, fingerprints, voice recognition, everything. We're exactly the same person, just with a 12-year age difference. The tech was speechless, saying he didn't understand it, but I was basically Janice's clone. Janice and I still talk, and she's the only link I have to that side of my family. She took it well, still calls me her little sister, and she's going to find this other kid and Mom so she can keep an eye out for our youngest sister when Mom abandons her, too. I'm in college now, working on my bachelor's degree in English and foreign languages, but something keeps me up at night as I study a little more into some of the things inside that journal. One of the languages I've been studying is the German and Slavic dialect, so I can read the notes my mom left, and the more I learn, the more I believe that I was the baby that Mom took away when she left Janice. If I am I even a real person? If some fey creature made me out of air and gave me to my depraved mother, then am I really a person at all? Scientifically speaking, I suppose I am. I have blood and organs and teeth. I think and I reason. I love and I'm capable of being loved. These are things that seem to define us as humans, but I suppose a creature of fairy could do such things as well. I don't know what to make of any of this, but I suppose there's a lesson in being very careful with the parts of you that you discard. You never know who might find them, and who might find them valuable.
Good evening, everyone. It's me, Dr. Plague. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's show. If you think you might like a little more spooky in your life, then please feel free to click on one of the videos we have up here. Maybe look at one of the playlists if you're trying to get caught up. I know, there's so many videos on the channel. There's so many series that are going at the same time. Sometimes you just need a little refresher course, and I gotta say, I always enjoy the views. If you're not subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Maybe hit the bell so you don't miss anything. We upload a lot on this channel, so you won't want to miss a single story as they come out. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click on the Amazon link down there. There's quite a few books in my Amazon account. You can have a look, and if you'd like a signed copy, get up with me through email, and I'll be happy to work something out with you. Also, there's links to my Patreon, and you can become a member on the channel if you'd like your spooky a little bit early. Patrons and members on the $5 tier get their videos 12 hours early. That's in the morning as opposed to in the evening. Patrons at the $10 level also get a signed copy of my book anytime I write one. Speaking of my patrons, you should see them appearing right now. Just wanted to take a minute to say how much I appreciate all of you. Patrons, subscribers, however you give to the channel. I really appreciate everything you do, and it truly touches me that you have chosen to support the channel in this way. Well, that's enough for now. Till next time, Dr. Plague, signing off. Have a wonderful evening.